The tragic fate of Reely Strain, a young man known for his universal friendliness, and whose mother poignantly remarked, "He knew no strangers," is a story of heartbreak no parent should ever have to face. I just ask that you mamas out there hug your babies tight tonight, please. Please for me. A heart-wrenching plea from the grieving mother, Michelle Whited. Her son, the vibrant 22-year-old Reely Strain, vanished into the darkness on March 8th. Despite exhaustive efforts by both authorities and volunteers, his lifeless form surfaced in the cold embrace of the Cumberland River on March 22nd. Reely's absence leaves an irrevocable chasm in the hearts of his mother, stepfather, father, and a myriad of friends and family, a void that will endure for an eternity. Reely, a promising senior at the University of Missouri, had embarked on a journey to Nashville with his Delta Chi fraternity brothers in early March 2024, just as the gentle touch of spring began to awaken the southern United States. Their anticipation of impending graduation hung palpably in the air, their aspirations for the future tantalizingly close. Yet, amidst their plans for jubilation, tragedy struck. One fateful night, as the fraternity brothers revealed, Reely departed a bar at 9:30 p.m., vanishing into the night's murky depths, never to return. Our hearts ache for Reely's family as they grapple with the unfathomable, the loss of their charismatic, towering figure with hair as golden as the sun and eyes as blue as the deepest ocean, discovered lifeless in the river's embrace 2 agonizing weeks later. In the wake of this tragedy, a haunting veil of unanswered questions looms. What spurred Reely to venture alone into the night? Was alcohol the culprit, clouding his judgment? Did the establishments he frequented recklessly fuel his intoxication? Or was a more sinister force at play? How did he find himself submerged in the frigid waters? A tragic misstep, or a malevolent hand guiding him into the abyss? And what of his fraternity brothers? Why did they permit him to wander into the night's shadows, consumed by inebriation? Their reticence to divulge details only deepens the enigma. Yet, amidst the fog of uncertainty, questions also shroud the investigation itself. Why did it appear that a cohort of TikTok users made strides where law enforcement faltered? Were the authorities privy to secrets unbeknownst to the public, relegating Reely's disappearance to mere happenstance? And with an autopsy looming, can a toxicology report glean any semblance of truth from a body submerged for so long? A myriad of uncertainties linger. But first, let us retrace our steps to the genesis of this tragedy, shifting through the fragments of truth, while endeavoring to assemble the shattered pieces of this devastating puzzle. What cruel fate snuffed out Reely's burgeoning life, poised on the precipice of a radiant future? Our journey into the night of March 8th begins with Reely's trip to Nashville, alongside his fraternity brethren. Their purpose, shrouded in ambiguity, hints at a private affair. However, the details remain elusive, leaving us grasping at fragments of truth amidst a sea of uncertainty. On that fateful Friday evening, Reely, adorned in his unmistakable dichromatic shirt, a beacon amidst the darkness, embarks on a nocturnal journey with his fraternity brothers. Yet, the night takes a sinister turn, as Reely is abruptly expelled from Luke's 32 Bridge, a bastion of Nashville's nightlife, at about 9:40 p.m. Conflicting reports shroud the circumstances of his departure, casting a pall of suspicion over the events that transpired. Luke's 32 Bridge is a well-known bar located in the downtown area of Nashville known for its nightlife. The street is called Broadway, and it is filled with other similar establishments. Every night it is full of neon signs and revelry. You can hear the music pouring out of each bar as you walk past. Initially, no one would say why he got kicked out of the bar, and there were initial reports that it wasn't because he was too drunk, but for something else. They say he wasn't overserved at that bar, and a Luke's 32 Bridge spokesperson did share that he was only served one alcoholic drink. Later they clarified that Reely was kicked out based on their security policy regarding overservice of alcohol. We know the fraternity brothers had been to 2 other bars previously. The story is a little fuzzy on this point. The bar reports their security walks Reely to the exit after he paid his tab. But there are also reports that one of his fraternity brothers walked Reely to the door of Luke's and left him there while he went to pay the tab for Reely. Whatever happened, Reely left that bar alone, likely intoxicated and possibly drugged. But what happens next? How could Reely go from a seemingly standard outing with his fraternity brothers to drowning in the river. Why did no one help him? At 10 p.m. at night on a Friday, the city is full and well lit. The evening's narrative unravels further as fragments of Reely's final hours emerge through the lens of surveillance footage. At 9:45 p.m., his staggering silhouette traverses Church Street and 3rd Avenue, a poignant testament to the intoxicating haze that enveloped him. Minutes later, at 9:47 p.m., he navigates the streets with faltering steps, in a somber dance of confusion and disorientation, as he crosses 1st Avenue onto Gay Street. He seems to turn around too many times and is possibly confused. It is this stumbling and turning around that leads to the speculation that he was not only drunk but possibly drugged. Amidst this nocturnal ballet, a fleeting encounter with a law enforcement officer, recorded on his body cam at 9:50 p.m., offers a fleeting glimpse into Reely's world that night, a world veiled in shadows and ambiguity. In that video, Reely is walking upright and has a brief hello with the officer. Was he putting on a show of sobriety for the officer? Or was he really somehow miraculously doing better than in previous videos? As Reely traverses Gay Street, straying further from the neon-lit embrace of downtown Nashville, he finds himself right on the banks of the Cumberland River. He is reported to have had an interaction with some of the homeless people nearby, and there are reports from a few of the amateur investigators that he was described as being very intoxicated, so intoxicated that he was falling into bushes. Somewhere nearby, on the banks of the Cumberland River, he has his last phone conversation between 9:55 and 10 p.m. His bank card is found 10 days later just another block north along the bank of the river, and his phone is reported to have last pinged a further block north along the river, near the Robertson Parkway overpass. The banks of the Cumberland River bear witness to Reely's final moments, shrouded in darkness and despair. This area on the banks of the river seems to be the place where Reely met his untimely and tragic demise. What was happening as Reely was walking along the river? How did his bank card get on the bank of the river? Did someone take his phone and push him in the river there? Or did he just drop his bank card and then fall in the river a block further upstream? Did he drop his bank card and in trying to go after it accidentally fall into the river? How did he find himself in this desolate realm, severed from the warmth of companionship and consumed by the abyss? We may never know. The afternoon of March 9th heralds the commencement of a frantic search, as friends and strangers alike unite in a desperate bid to unravel the mystery of Reely's disappearance. We do know that Reely wasn't reported missing until the following afternoon. His friends called 911 and filed a missing persons report with the sheriff's office on March 9th. Reely's family was alerted, and they immediately drove from Springfield, Missouri, over to Nashville. The police begin a search using dogs, boats, and their standard missing person protocol. The community was galvanized and got involved too. Many strangers started a grassroots organization to aid in the investigation. There is an amazing amount of searching but no progress, no news, and no Reely. It is as if he vanished. Amidst the fervent efforts, the specter of hope begins to wane, eclipsed by the inexorable march of time. On Tuesday, March 12th, Nashville's director of the mayor's office of nightlife released a statement including encouragement to Reely's family and direction for visitors to know their limits with regard to alcohol and to always travel in groups. He even went so far as to caution people to not let their guard down at any point and always have a plan to take care of yourself. This statement leads back to the fact that Reely was alone. Did his fraternity brothers try to catch up with him but couldn't find him? Did they expect that he would be able to make it back to their hotel? Reely had made a grave mistake when he left the bar. He was going the wrong way to get back to their hotel. It is hard not to speculate that if someone had taken the time to walk Reely back to his hotel room, he would likely be alive today. He may have woken up that Saturday afternoon with some hangover and possibly some chagrin about being kicked out of a bar, but he would still be with us. During the investigation, the restaurants and other businesses willingly shared their video of that night to enable the search. On March 13th, Nashville's Office of Emergency Management even searched the riverbank area using sonar, but found nothing. That night, a vigil is held in Reely's hometown, Springfield, Missouri, to pray for his safe return. But the river's depths remain impassive, yielding no solace to those who seek closure. On Thursday the 14th, the search continues, and the police report during a public news conference that they are interviewing the people who live in the homeless encampments near the river. There was no suspicion of foul play, and they were not considering it a criminal investigation. But the public did not agree. As a close family friend put it, "At 6'6", you just don't vanish like he has. Somebody has perfectly created the perfect crime." Reporters interviewed many family members and friends of Reely. They all spoke about what a wonderful, caring person he was. Amidst the fog of despair, a glimmer of hope emerges on March 17th, as a body is discovered amidst the murky depths of the Cumberland River. It was confirmed that it wasn't Reely based on clothing and a tattoo on the body. Yet, the grim revelation offers little respite, as Reely's fate remains entwined with the fabric of uncertainty. Just a few hours later, Reely's bank card was found, by volunteers, near the riverbank in downtown Nashville. But this is an area of town that had been searched well before by the police. Was the card planted there recently? At that point in the investigation, Reely's father, Ryan Gilbert, was quoted as saying, "We first thought the area had been searched pretty well, and they find this little, small debit card. It just leaves you to question how well it was searched. Maybe here in the future, when these more organized search parties come through here, maybe they'll find something else. We just remain hopeful." Reely's captured the hearts of people across the country, and we thank everybody for their thoughts and prayers and their efforts in trying to find him. A few days earlier, on March 15th, Reely's family had finally asked the police for a meeting. They were becoming frustrated with the lack of communication and transparency they were getting. They were able to meet with the police on March 18th to review video, including the body cam footage which had not yet been released to the public. Reely's family began to confront the potentially devastating reality of their son's fate. At this point, after 10 days of investigation and not much to show for it, and after much public criticism, the Nashville police finally requested help from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations and the FBI. Despite the daunting odds, hope flickered faintly in the hearts of Reely's loved ones, clinging to the possibility of a miracle. March 19th dawned with a glimmer of optimism as the United Cajun Navy rallied volunteers in a desperate bid to unearth clues amidst the murky depths of the Cumberland River. The following day witnessed a concerted effort focused on the Cheatham Lock Dam downstream, as officials strained against the current of uncertainty in pursuit of closure. Then, on March 22nd, tragedy descended once more, casting a pall over the river's tranquil surface. In the pre-dawn hours, Reely's lifeless form emerged from the depths, a silent testament to the cruel hand fate had dealt. As authorities recovered his body, a grim realization took hold. There were no signs of foul play or trauma. Reely's final moments were shrouded in silence, lost amidst the ebb and flow of the river's ceaseless embrace. We now know that it is extremely likely that Reely had died that night from falling into the river and drowning just after 10 p.m. Throughout the amateur investigation, amidst a cacophony of speculation, two haunting narratives emerged, each vying for prominence in the tapestry of tragedy. The first, a grim testament to the unforgiving currents of fate, posited that Reely had succumbed to the river's icy embrace, drawn into oblivion by the inexorable pull of the tide. The homeless encampment where he was reportedly seen was near the river. His bank card was found near the river, and he could have been dragged nearly 100 miles downstream by the current in 24 hours, if he was floating freely in the river. The second, more sinister in its implications, whispered of dark deeds and malevolent forces lurking in the shadows of the night, and the possibility is that Reely was the victim of something more nefarious. Maybe he was robbed and then pushed into the river. There was the report of a homeless person wearing a shirt just like Reely's. The shirt was a somewhat unusual pattern. Yet, amidst the labyrinth of conjecture, one truth remained immutable. Nashville's glittering facade belied a darker underbelly, a city cloaked in shadows where danger lurked at every corner. The cautionary tales echoed through the streets, a somber refrain urging visitors to tread with caution, lest they too fall victim to the city's insidious allure. In the crucible of investigation, the line between amateur sleuths and seasoned authorities blurred, as TikTokers emerged as unlikely champions in the quest for truth. Criticisms of law enforcement's perceived inaction cast a pall over the proceedings, igniting a firestorm of debate and dissent. During the investigation, it often seemed like the group of amateur investigators and grassroots volunteers, who everyone was calling the TikTokers, was making more progress than the police. The police were criticized for not doing more,
for not pulling in the FBI sooner, and for not considering it a criminal case. Now that we know Reely most likely drowned that night, maybe the police already had very strong suspicions about what happened that night, but didn't want to burden the public with such grave opinions without actual facts. It was reported that a body of Reely's weight would surface in the water 14 to 21 days after being submerged, and he was found exactly 2 weeks after his death. It is likely that the police know information like this in much more detail than the general public. Perhaps they knew it was just a matter of time before his body would rise to the surface.
Another puzzling issue is why the fraternity's lawyer asked the members to not speak to the press and asked the press to not interview the members. Their website says that advancing justice is a core value and expectation of the membership of Delta Chi, which at its founding was a law-focused fraternity. Our heart goes out to them for the loss of their fraternity brother and friend. We hope that Delta Chi and all other Greek organizations will learn from this terrible loss to never let anyone go home alone. As the curtain falls on this tragic chapter, unanswered questions linger, casting a shadow over the shattered remnants of a once promising future. Questions remain to be answered. The toxicology report is still forthcoming, and the Tennessee Alcoholic Beverage Commission is also conducting a separate investigation to determine whether Reely was overserved the night he disappeared. Reely's family expressed their deep gratitude to everyone who participated in the search and investigation. They now have closure, and while it is an incredibly difficult closure, they can bury their son and start to try to heal. We want to hear from you. What do you think happened? Click the link above to learn about the horrific murder of a family taken at the hands of a child in The Deadly Retreat. Stay curious, stay connected, stay with Reely Unreal.